Tim Herridge, who's been following the email scandal from the very beginning. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West is also here. But we start with Michael Biesecker of the Associated Press. Nice to talk to you.
Good to see you, Greta.
All right, first of all, what is this investigation? Who did it?
It's the State Department's Inspector General, who's an independent agency inside the State Department that does audits of things that need to be looked at.
Who asked for it?
I believe the State Department, well, the Inspector General doesn't need anyone to ask for it specifically. I believe they have their own purview.
All right, now this is separate from the investigation being done by the FBI. So where does this Inspector General report go?
Well, it's distributed to the public. It goes to the Hill. It also is distributed today to the news media. But the key difference between that and the FBI investigation is, of course, a criminal investigation. This is looking at whether Hillary Clinton violated any internal policies. And what it did find was that there was internal guidance about the use of personal email accounts and that she didn't meet those. There was a second issue of whether she met the federal retention standards for keeping records under federal rules, and it also took issue with that.
All right, did she cooperate? The Inspector General, in compiling this, is actually a pretty meaty report. It's about 80 pages long. It's pretty meaty. Did she cooperate?
No, she did not. She declined to be interviewed at the IG's request. She also, 4 of her top aides declined to be interviewed or cooperate with the investigation.
All right, there were the other State Department secretaries who were part of this report. Did they cooperate?
They did. Not all of them. Some spoke through representatives, but I believe Colin Powell did speak to the IG, and that was the one that the IG specifically mentioned as having used personal email before, with a key difference. Secretary Powell used a publicly available personal email account, whereas he didn't have this private server in his basement that, was arguably less secure.
All right. Did she have notice? I mean, as I went through the report, the thing that's, that I was looking for is whether there was any indication that she had noticed that she shouldn't have this private server, private email account.
Well, these are written policies. They were available to her, and the IG specifically said that by the time Secretary Clinton took office, as opposed to when Secretary Powell was in office, that these records were these rules were very clear about what was supposed to happen with personal email accounts. And then in 2010, 2 people in the Information Management Office raised the issue of whether her practices were meeting the federal standards under the records retention policy. And they were essentially told by their supervisor that there had been a legal review, that it was found that they were, that it was approved, and that they shouldn't ask about it anymore. And what the IG says is there was no such legal review and there was no such approval. And that had she asked, it would not have been approved because of security concerns.
All right, one of the things it says in November 2010 in the report that the Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations discussed the fact that she had this the private emails, and it said and even sent an email to her that we should talk about putting you, the Secretary, on state email, or releasing your email address to the department. And her response was, let's get separate address or device, but I don't want any risk of the personal being accessible. Which, of course, when I saw it, it didn't say I want to protect the State Department email. It says I want to protect the personal.
I can't speculate about what Secretary Clinton's motives were, but certainly by controlling access to her server, controlling those records, it would have made it more difficult for anyone to FOIA those emails in the future, and gave her an extra measure of control about what emails got turned over to the department eventually after she left office and what she holds on to and declares to be private.